Hello and welcome to the podcast. Every moment is sacred, where we interweave meditation and healing into everyday life. I am your host, Rain Elizabeth Stickney. Now, let us begin. Welcome. I am so happy you're here. Today is Wednesday, and I get to share a meditation with you. The best way to enjoy this guided meditation is to find a quiet place and sit down or lie down. Or if you're busy in your day and you're doing something, that's okay too. Simply take a deep breath and notice how you are. And when you're ready, listen to the meditation. At the end, there will be a bell. The meditation begins with a bell and ends with a bell. And at the bell that ends the meditation, take another breath and notice how you are. This practice is for you. It's made especially for you. This meditation and the meditations that I share in these episodes are from Stillwater Meditation. It's a group that I taught, that I teach, that evolves over time. And the way the recordings have come about are from me listening to you, to whoever has gathered for that day. And every guided meditation is a response to somebody's request. To listen to more guided meditations, please visit Insight Timer. You can download the app or you can search for Insight Timer on the web, insighttimer.com. Look for my name, Rain Elizabeth Stickney, and there are a bunch of guided meditations to enjoy. The benefit of listening there on Insight Timer is that it goes straight into the bell and meditation. There is no podcasting preamble, although I have spoken with some of my listeners who really enjoy the podcast preamble. So by all means, keep coming back here as often as you would like, and know that there is another resource available. insighttimer.com, or download the app and search for my name, Rain Elizabeth Stickney. I thank you again for your presence. Enjoy this guided meditation. Hey guys, I have something a little different for you this time around for the guided meditation. This is more of a meditative story. I told this story once in a Stillwater meditation group a while back, and I kept the recording because I love this story so much. It is my healing story of depression. So rather than going into the doldrums of depression, this is actually a story of how acceptance, self-care, spiritual practice, and courage helped me through what seemed insurmountable. Listen along, travel with me. I offer you this story from the bottom of my heart. If you or someone you know is experiencing depression or has experienced depression, whatever the case may be for you and the members of your community, please know there is hope. And if you don't know there is hope, just consider just consider how my life unfolded for me. Here you go. I invite you to take a deep breath in, nourishing your body, and a slow exhale out, releasing anything there is to be released today. Oxygen nourishes the body. Oxygen allows the body to function well. Let us take a moment to honor oxygen, to give thanks for our breath, to be in gratitude for this life as it unfolds. So long ago now, I wanted to share my happiness story. I feel so glad and grateful to be able to share this story now, today. It was an ordinary day, an ordinary morning many years ago. I don't know how many, maybe 15, maybe 12, something like this. And I was leaving my home to make the short walk up to the Muni stop in San Francisco to catch a streetcar to wherever I needed to go that day. Maybe it was my graduate studies or an appointment. But I was living in San Francisco. I didn't have a car. I was studying at the California Institute of Integral Studies. And up until this point, I didn't really know true happiness, not consciously. I think I was probably happy as a young child and around the age of 4, sometime between 4 years old and my 5th birthday, I got very sad, and I stayed sad for a very long time. I still feel sad now about how sad I was then. It was a hard many decades. But on this day, on my day of happiness, I had been going through a process of accepting my depression. I had become aware that I was depressed and had been depressed for a very long time. I had become aware that my depression had become normalized, partly because of the way that I was raised, and partly because of how I adapted and coped with my life. I was so depressed in my teenage years that I resented anyone who was happy, and in high school parted with my best friend because she was too happy, and I just didn't understand how anyone could be that happy, and where she probably had her own struggles in her heart. I resented her for the happiness that she could express on a daily basis and almost all of the time. I was not happy. So when I was in graduate school and became more aware of my personal psychological dilemma, my psychologist, the first psychologist I had ever seen, she offered me medication, and I refused because I first wanted to work with my depression naturally and with awareness. And if it didn't ease, or if I really couldn't live a life depressed, I promised her I would consider medication. But I chose to do other things first. I chose to dive very deeply into my spiritual practice with a teacher whom I adored and trusted and was learning a great deal from. I chose to eat even healthier. I chose to use herbs that might support a positive mood and a positive outlook. I chose to rest. I chose to sleep. I chose to have daily practices that supported my health and well-being. And still I was depressed. Nothing seemed to work. And so in the end, I really chose acceptance. I really asked myself the question, what would it be like to live my entire life depressed? Is it possible? Can I do the things I need to do even while depressed? Can I care for myself and others and have a life and a career and relationships even if I feel bad inside? I just wanted to know, is it possible to simply continue with this awareness? So that's the process I was in. And on this particular day, I left my home and had the things with me that I needed. And it was a sunny day, probably late in the morning, maybe sometime after 9 o'clock in the morning. And I walked down the steps and I walked on the sidewalk and I turned the corner. And when I turned the corner, I was walking uphill. It's a pretty steep San Francisco hill. Walking. I could hear my footsteps. I was walking. I was just taking it all in. And somewhere up the hill, I just noticed that there was something different. There was something unmistakably different. What was it? I didn't know what it was at first. I thought maybe I forgot something. I thought maybe I was going to be late for the bus. I kind of did my checks and balances to see if everything was internally and externally in order, and everything was fine. There was no rush, no panic, no hurry, no emergency. Everything was fine. And still something was different. And I stopped on the sidewalk. I stopped on the hill, one foot in front of the other, just pausing and looking around, looking at the sky and the trees. It was a blue sky with some wispy clouds, nothing remarkable, but very beautiful. The buildings I saw, the gray of the sidewalk, the black of the street, the cars going by. There was something different. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me that there was a lightness in my heart. There was a spacious happiness pervading my mind. This was so unfamiliar to me, and I was completely shocked by it and a little terrified. And I wondered, could it be? Am I happy? Is this even possible? And I kind of laughed to myself and I looked around again and I felt my bag that was over my shoulder and I felt happy.
I felt happy. And this happiness was light and filled with light, both light in terms of levity and light in terms of brightness. I felt happy. I felt it in my belly, like a growing spaciousness in my belly. I noticed that I liked what I was wearing, that I liked my Converse shoes, that I liked things. I noticed that I liked things, that I was happy about the things that I saw. There are parrots squawking in the palm tree. In San Francisco, there are flocks of parrots that fly through and rest in various trees in the city. And some of the parrots lived in my neighborhood, and there are these parrots squawking. I was happy. I was happy. And immediately upon realizing this, and in my just beginning moments of resting in this happiness, I knew that I was leaving something behind. I was leaving an identity behind. I was leaving behind so much darkness and sadness and weight, heaviness, and I was leaving behind my unhappiness and depression, my dissatisfaction with life, my disappointment in various things from my past, hurt that I felt for many reasons. I was leaving all of that behind, and I really didn't know who I was without it. I didn't know. And I wanted to find out, but I was very terrified to find out who was I happy. What is a happy rain like? What does that even mean? I had no context for it. And I was very excited. And I walked a few more steps, and I crossed the street, and I walked a few more steps and kept walking. And then I paused again, and I really wondered, can I do this? Can I live happy? Can I? Can I have the courage to take these next steps to the Muni stop, to catch a streetcar? Can I take even this one block of walking in a happy way? And I walked, and I looked at myself in the reflection of a window of a shop. And I really took on the courage to be happy. I wanted this for myself. I had waited so long and had worked so hard that in a way it was easy to leave behind the depression. And in another way, it was exactly like a ship sailing off into the unknown and leaving a familiar shore, and knowing that there would be other challenges and that I couldn't even imagine. I didn't know what a happy life could mean for me, but I was ready. And I took those next steps, and I walked that next block happy, and I smiled brighter, and I smiled easier because I wanted to, not because it was expected of me, not because I felt like I had to, not because I was trying to please somebody, not because I was trying to hide my emotions, none of that. I was just happy and beaming and feeling the beaming coming from me, and knowing that the beaming coming from me wasn't me at all. It was simply life. It was simply life living through me, doing its life light dance through my smile. And I was simply opening up to it, opening up deeper than I ever had consciously before to life itself. And that happiness lives inside of me today, and I believe always. And it was always there doing its best, but being consciously aware of my happiness, being consciously aware of opening up to what life has to offer me. That is pure joy. I offer this story to you in hope that you are either living a life of joy and happiness, or that you discover in your own way and in your own time the happiness and joy that is yours. That is yours here in this lifetime, right now, whenever you are ready. And if you are waiting for that happiness to overtake you and to find you and to become so recognizable you cannot miss it, I just offer you all of my blessings for that moment to come soon and be pure and simple and just right for you in whatever way you need it to be. And if you are already living a life of freedom and happiness and joy, blessings on you, good for you. You just keep going. And whoever you are, however you are, I love you. I love you just as you are. All shapes and forms of you, all emotions moving through you. You are beautiful. You are beautiful always. And I know this. And I treasure you. And I offer you my love today, backwards and forwards in time, in every direction. I offer you my love.
Thank you so much for listening. It has been a great joy to have your presence here in this podcast. I welcome you to celebrate the joy and wisdom in your life exactly as it is. And I welcome you to feel loved, fully loved, exactly as you are. www.rainelizabeth.org